So I want to talk in this video about the reasons we go camping. What is it that drives us to get ready, make reservations ahead of time, sometimes a year in advance, in order to go camping? What attracts us there? How is it different from tourism? My tenet or premise of the reason for going camping is because this is a portal for us to connect to our ancestor genes from hunter-gatherer timeline of humanity evolution, where we evolved in forests, we evolved along the rivers and in mountains, at least lower mountains to some extent, next to oceans, of course. So why camping specifically reminds us about something from our genetic past, and something which is apparently used to be quite exciting and enjoyable and fulfilling, gratifying. So reading as much as we know, as much as experts believe about hunter-gatherers, one thing is clear: their brains were significantly larger because they had to deal with forests, they had to deal with environment around them. Just gathering, individual gathering or small group gathering was not as efficient. So they had to find new ways, to find new technology, and that was through collaboration and cooperation with other members to work together and contribute. So through that sense of camaraderie, where we go into unknown places, we risking leaving this established camp and trying something new, they found that overcoming those difficulties brings that sense of satisfaction. So how does it connect us to camping? We go in a luxury vehicle, packed with food, packed with warm blankets and all kinds of conveniences. And camping still invokes in us memories from millennia and potentially 500,000 years ago. That sense of glorious time of humanity, if you will. And maybe I'm exaggerating here because people were dying probably on the left and the right. But those who survived, their genes were encoded that this kind of behavior, this kind of experience of doing something together, achieving something together in new places was the right drive. And we're still experiencing an echo of this type of drive. Our clam shelter in which we could hide away. But when we arrived, we're still experiencing challenges. And our small team, my wife and I at this point, we're working together. And through that common goal, common interest, common task in camping, which is focused all about camping and whatever we do during camping, is very gratifying. That's number one. Number two, that sense of exploration, which used to be associated with better food or greater sources of food, varieties of food, in different places. You have to travel from one place to another. We do. We cover sometimes thousands of miles to go and see places, because just being there and seeing those vistas brings that association. New land, the promised land. We know from even our history that those are the terms people use to sort of show the level of excitement and the drive which was carrying them over mountains down west, and some of them perished on the way. This is the remnants of that period of humanity that drives us a millennia later to go to those places and visit them again. We have many more attractions in the modern world. That's why tourism exists. Commercial tourism with airlines and fancy cities with myriads of shops and entertainment and different cultures to entertain us. And for many, this is the bucket list they'd like to fill in their travels. And we've done some of that, but very quickly we realized that it's extremely formulaic, it's the same thing, and it's quite unpleasant actually, because it's expensive, it's tiresome, it's crowded, and we never feel fulfilled after those travels. We've done it, and you could tell your neighbors, and it's just an ugly conversation about upmanship who traveled more. Our idea of traveling is associated with some type of recharge or regeneration of our spiritual energy and coming back with full appreciation of what we have here at home. Why going camping does it to us? Well, my wife and I, we work together, getting ready, planning, preparing mentally for this, and then actually executing through our travel what we've envisioned for this particular trip. And there are difficulties and challenges in modern life. It's from traffic to driving to smoke to dealing with bad weather sometimes or logistical difficulties. We as humans evolved to do things ourselves, to contribute, to be successful at this, get some kind of recognition, do something for others. In our careers, perhaps that happens to some extent in effective organizations, but often it feels more frustrating than fulfilling. As we're retired and we go camping, we see two things which drives us to do this. One is to experience a change, and second is to reconnect with nature, experiencing a sense of energy of the place, which allows us to relax and resynchronize our clocks. And you'd say, well, let's go to Paris, let's go to Tokyo, let's go to some incredible places somewhere in Fiji. Well, you essentially putting yourself again in a new environment of commercialized world. You're not experiencing anything new. You've seen this before. We lost our freedom as humans the moment we settled down and put fences around our settlement. We isolated ourselves from the world. We isolated ourselves from some of the dangers and found some new comforts. But what happened on the way? There's ennui. We lost something on the way. We are still longing that past, however dangerous it might have been, and not everybody survived, but there was a true thrill and sense of being alive. Now, behind fences, we're surviving even if we're sick, but we know that sickness is not a happy time, and often it's a miserable time to be. When we arrive in locations which we like, and our places are places with redwood forest or mixed forest, rivers, creeks, lakes, ocean, shore, because those places remind us what this world is all about. It has its own clock, it has its own vibration. Being among redwoods specifically, when we walk around these giant trees, some of them hundreds of years old, there is an element of being a guest in a welcoming, magic sanctuary. Because these trees are all connected, the air, the wind, everything resonated, everything synchronized. And we're inserting ourselves in that energy field. We go into redwood forest, we go into the seashore, we're going to reconnect. And 1 or 2 days is enough to replenish, to resynchronize your clock, come again and appreciate what we have at home, because we have a lot. But being static, being stagnant, being without change, without point of reference, we'll lose sense of appreciation for what we have. So another good reason for going camping is to take yourself away from your current environment. Allows you to see things differently when you come back. In Chinese culture, they say, the reason you go traveling, not to see new places, but to rediscover yourself. And what they mean rediscover is to allow yourself to see things differently. So that's yet another perspective for you. Well, talking about gadgets, one of our most recent acquisitions for our camping rig is this beer keg. We filled it with water and made carbonated water at home. It was pre-chilled, it held temperature for 24 hours. We're in the second day of camping, just returned from long hiking, and it's great to refill our containers with carbonated water. It's attached with a Velcro strap, very easy to remove. To put it out of the way, you simply rotate it out. Otherwise, it's held here by the door in place without spilling or getting dislodged. So hunter-gatherers used to make tools, collect tools. We're acquiring gadgets and entertaining ourselves by interacting with inanimate objects, and that's the idea of fun for modern humans. Well, cheers. I'll invite you to talk about your thoughts why you go in camping, what type of camping you'd like to do. Let us know what you think.